cool. Okay. So usually it doesn't last more than an hour. So if you budget an hour, you'll probably be good, but hopefully this time will work for you every week. As of right now, I'm planning on having these every week. There may be some weeks where we have off. Randomly, we'll have to see. But I'm pretty committed to weekly hangouts. We're the only region that does weekly hangouts, and some of the other RDs don't really understand it. But for those of you that were on last semester, I think they were really helpful. And it's just good to come together as a team at least once per week. And then it keeps them pretty short too, because there's not as much to cover versus like once a month, and then we just like unload everything. So hopefully this will work. But generally I start all of my hangouts with shout outs to people who have gone above and beyond. So first shout out to everyone who started a chapter this month, which as of right now, Jay Ham, Brian Hale, Carrie in Arkansas, that's awesome. Joe also, Andrew Bays, so Louisiana representing, Mike Anderson, and then Chris Harrelson. So all of you, good job starting your chapter for the month, pretty solid. And then also wanted to give a shout out to Jason Hammonds, just because he does a lot of work that y'all probably don't even realize as the Central Leadership Coordinator. He has put on 2 trainings for our recruitment director team, which is looking like really strong. I'm super excited about it. And I just think that's awesome. He's putting in a lot of work on his own personal time, which is appreciated. Everyone say hey to Alex. Okay, and then also I want to give out a shout out to Joe Champ, just because I remember a couple weeks ago, a lot of his chapters hadn't applied for a membership drive yet, and I brought that to his attention, and literally within 24 hours, he completely turned it around and got all of his chapters basically applied. And that's just the kind of work ethic that I want on our team. So shout out to Joe for that. And then also wanted to give a shout out to Brian Hale, just because of everyone on our team. He is always on top of chapter notes. He's always on top of, communicating with his chapter, staying in communication with Yale National, turning in his Liberty points on time, like everything just on the ball. And I really do appreciate that type of work ethic as well. So shout out to you and everyone else. There's a lot of good things going on. I know Jess had a really successful event at her chapter, and everything like that. So does anyone have anything else that they kind of want to contribute of, successes that they've had in the past month, or anything else that they kind of want to share about things that are happening in their states? Maybe?
I'm about to plug in a lot more information regarding membership drives and events that just started since the semester.
Nice. Awesome. And something that we'll go through on this Hangout, we've got a much better method of tracking events that have happened, events that need to change dates, stuff like that, just so that we're on the same page about all of that. So I like that.
I want to give a quick shout out to the champion over here. He already had his recruitment directors working before they even trained. A lot of them already knew how to graph search. So boys on the ball. I wanted to give him a shout out.
Awesome. Cool. Anyone else? Alrighty. We can move on then. So I just wanted to give the opportunity to Jason to share kind of what's happening with our recruitment director team. We've made some really big strides within the past couple weeks, and some of that, like I said, just isn't on everyone's radar all the time. Obviously, everyone here, except for maybe 1 or 2 of you, has a recruitment director assigned to you. So this is going to be relevant to all of you. So just, Jason, if you wouldn't mind just giving kind of an update with all of that and how things are going.
All right, everybody. So most all of the recruitment directors are trained. There are a few people that have not been, and that is going to change. Hopefully this week. I'm just working with them to try to fit our schedules together to where we can wrap that up, because the training does take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how many people. But most everybody's recruitment directors are set up, and they are ready for graph search. They're ready for invasions. They know what they're supposed to be doing for you. So all they're waiting for is things to work on. And some of the things that I wanted to throw to you that you absolutely should be doing with your recruitment directors, and these are expectations as you of state chairs to make happen with your recruitment directors. And one of them is apply for one invasion with your recruitment director. So go ahead and set up it could be 3 weeks down the road or whatever. Just set up an invasion where both of you can make it. That way you can actually get on campus and recruit dues-paying members with your recruitment directors, because that is what they're there for. You're supposed to be training them and showing them how to be a state chair so that they can apply in the future. But you're also supposed to be using them as a resource. So it always helps to have an extra, extra feet on the ground whenever you're at a campus. You're able to talk to twice as many people. So that's one absolute expectation I'll be following up with you on to make sure that you can get that in, because I want the recruitment directors to get all of it out of this that they can. The next thing is to assign a graph search targets for your recruitment director. So this isn't for starting chapters. Obviously, that's your job. Assign them a graph search target of schools that you want to mobilize, or excuse me, of schools you want to activate. If you have a school that you haven't activated yet, this is a great way to have them look for dues-paying members without you having to do any of the work while they're also getting value out of it. So figure out schools, go through and lay out like 3 or 4 schools of activation targets of yourself. Take 2 of them that you want to work on, give the other 2 to your recruitment director, and tell them that they have a goal of 2 dues-paying members from that school. And that right there will knock it out. You're activated. Boom, you got a bonus on your way, and they've done their objective by getting 2 dues-paying members. So you're knocking 2 birds out with 1 stone there, and you're making money off of it. So that doesn't hurt at all. And you want to make sure that they have 2 dues-paying members at that school by the end of September. That should be something that you say, hey, I need 2 dues-paying members here by the end of September at Louisiana Tech University, although they already have like a school, but that's just an example. Go ahead and throw that out there. But so another one that you need to focus on is set a goal, a dues-paying member goal for your recruitment director. That's 4 total dues-paying members in the month of September. So if that means you fit in a campus invasion, that campus invasion we talked about earlier, this can go right next to that. You get 2 dues-paying members from that invasion. Your recruitment director does. Great. And then they also get 2 from graph searching by the end of September. Great. They're on par with that goal. But those are like the things that I would like to see the recruitment director class do. And those are all things that, directly assist you. So, but that's basically all that I've got.
Cool. Does anyone have any questions about any of the expectations that were set, or the role of recruitment directors, or anything really associated with that? I know it's been a while since we've kind of touched on that as a group. So if you have any questions for Jason, now's the time, and we'll send out those expectations in an email just so that you have those handy. But any other questions or anything like that? Any feedback about recruitment directors? Are any of y'all's recruitment directors, working or doing notable things, or any, obstacles you're running into, anything like that? Okay. These Hangouts are way more fun if you guys contribute, but it's totally cool. Awesome. So one thing that I wanted to touch on, and I honestly don't want to talk about it for very long, but it's something that needs to be addressed, is, as most of you have noticed, Rachel is no longer on our team, and fabulous person, great activist, but it's just something we all need to be very cognizant of, is how we're coming across on social media, and, some of the things. Obviously, all right, so to start, Yao completely understands everyone has the freedom of speech to say whatever they want to say, and that's your constitutional right. But as a person that's voluntarily associating with our organization in such a way that they're hired by our organization, you just need to be very careful about how what you're saying is coming off. And so I just wanted to address that very quickly, because it's something that Yao takes very seriously, especially with everything that's happening in various parts of the country right now. It's very important that you're just very aware of that. So just wanted to address that. And if anyone has any questions, we can follow up individually. But now that's over with. Monthly expectations is something that I want to real quick touch on. So honestly, guys, we are trying to change the world with what we're doing. And that being said, there's some things that are bare minimum expectations of you every week. And I absolutely hate bringing this up on Hangouts, but I feel like I do it pretty often. So you'll notice like some people have additional responsibility. Like Jason, like Brian will be taking on a lot of Oklahoma going forward, which is pretty cool. Like Chris, like all of these people. And it's because they've mastered the basics, and it really is so important. Even myself as a regional director coming into YAL, like I wasn't given any additional responsibility unless I could master my daily tasks that I have. So just a reminder, chapter notes, something that's really been a little bit irritating for me and is going through and realizing that a lot of the chapter notes, to be honest, are kind of BS'd. So if you update the note date, just so you're clear, you must also update the note. That's what that means. The note is updated and the date is updated for the note date. A lot of people I've noticed have been going through and updating reply dates and note dates, but haven't been updating the notes. And that is not helpful for anyone involved, because if I look at that, I don't know what your communication has been. And a lot of times when I call chapter presidents, I'm repeating information that state chairs have already gone over. So it's not productive. I don't appreciate it. So just whenever you do update your notes for the week, please update the notes and the note date and the reply date. And it's also not useful information if you say like reached out to chapter president or had conversation with chapter president, just because I don't know what that means. So just be a little bit more conscious going forward, especially since school years have begun now. You do have things to talk about with membership drive. So I was a little bit lenient about it over the summer, but now that fall has arrived, we need to hold ourselves to a little bit higher of a standard with that. Also with Liberty points, like 4 of y'all haven't even put in your Liberty points for the week. So it's just things like that, little things. A lot of you are really on the ball with this stuff too, so this doesn't apply to you. But for some of you, just so you know, that is something that I take into consideration, that Yale National notices, and it's something that like we don't do it for nothing, and it really is useful. And so I won't say anything more about it because you know what you're doing, but just going forward, it would just be something to keep in mind. Make sure that you're getting those in every week. And then with chapter creation, so just a reminder that expectations have changed. So your expectation is either create a chapter for the month or mobilize 60% of your network. So it being August, 60% of your network probably won't get an event applied for, done, and blogged about by the end of August. It's just the reality that we're living in. So chapter creation is important, and this is an expectation that we need to make sure that we're filling on. Again, a lot of you have gotten that done and out of the way. For some of you, it is crunch time now to make sure that that is complete, and we're taking these expectations pretty seriously. So just be sure to be on the ball with that. With that said, something that I am willing to be a little more lenient about, since our activation is pretty low as a region, which is our next subject, activation.
Recruitment directors.
Yes, exactly. So recruitment directors are going to help you a lot with this. And so delegation is really important. As a state chair, I remember I had a really terrible time delegating to other people, even other state chairs, just because I liked doing things myself. I knew it would get done correctly. Recruitment directors are going to be really helpful though. And it's cool to empower other people. So anyway, activation, we are the lowest region in activation, and just in general, like we are, if we're not in first place on certain metrics, we are pretty close to first place, which is something that we couldn't have said even a couple months ago. So really hats off to you guys for making Central Region the best region in the country. But activation is something that we are legitimately struggling with. And so something I will say about that is if you get 2 chapters activated for the month, I'm willing to waive the chapter creation component of monthly expectations. So 2 activations or 1 chapter creation. If you're in a state that doesn't have the capability of activating 2 chapters, then let me know. There are other chapters in other states that don't have state chairs that need to be activated. So I'm more than willing to delegate that. But It is part of your monthly expectations to not only start the chapter, but activate the chapter. And as we're going more from quantity to quality, I think that this is a good way to put our money where our mouth is. I'm totally cool with really putting the work in to make sure that we're getting quality people associated with these chapters rather than creating new chapters, if that's, you know, your cup of tea. So that's where we're at with activation. Does anyone have any questions about activation or what all is entailed in activation? I know some of you are a little bit newer with this, so anything on your mind about that? Okay. Just a reminder, to become an active chapter, not only do you have to have 3 dues paying members, but you also have to have chapter plans completed. So whenever you do start a chapter, it's always helpful just to knock that out right away while you've got the chapter application open, while you're on the phone, and everything. And some chapters are literally 1 dues paying member away from becoming active. So that's a much easier sell than starting up a chapter on campus. It's just associating yourself with the chapter and getting involved. So cool. Moving right along. What do I want to cover next? I guess I'll cover communication. So huge, not huge, but like a lack of integrity on my end is I feel like I haven't been on the ball all the time with my communication. And I do acknowledge that and apologize for that. And something going forward, I have really made it a priority to make sure that we are on the same page when it comes to communication, because I really stepped up my game with talking to chapter presidents. But I totally remember being a state chair and like despising Lydia for reaching out to all of my chapters because it was, you know, my state and I felt like I should have more autonomy over it. And so I really want to give you guys that same autonomy in everything. So I would like to communicate through you rather than communicating directly with chapter presidents whenever possible. And so communication will be a priority going forward. I think once we establish office hours and good times to chat, communication on a weekly basis or more than, you know, bi-weekly, tri-weekly basis will be really a lot easier. But yeah, communication, definitely something. If you guys have anything on your mind or ever want to talk to me, I'm always available for that stuff. Keep in mind that like on the weekends, sometimes I do have other things going on and I'm not next to a computer all the time for that stuff. So just like keep that in your mind. But I do work pretty good hour, like past 6. So like if you need anything during the week, I'm pretty much there for that. So that's communication. So with mobilization, obviously this is something that we're focusing on a lot as a team, just because this is where your monetary incentives come in, is mobilizing chapters and everything like that. So is everyone clear on bonuses and how they work and what is required to get a bonus and all of that stuff? Or does anyone have questions about that?
You just want to briefly go over it?
Sure. So in order to get a bonus, a chapter needs to be created, activated, and then mobilized. So what that means every step of the way, a lot of chapters are already created and activated for you, and that's awesome. But so creating a chapter, starting it up, getting the chapter plan submitted, getting 3 dues paying members, that's active status. So that's your first step. Second step is getting a chapter mobilized. So that means that they apply for an activism event, execute the activism event, and blog about the activism event. And something that I wanted to go over in detail is what exactly is considered a blog worthy of a bonus. So for you to be eligible for a bonus for mobilization, oh, and one thing before that, you are eligible for a bonus whether you create the chapter or whether you haven't created the chapter. So any chapter that's assigned to you is eligible for an mobilization bonus. It's just a little bit higher if you create the chapter yourself. So cool. In order to be eligible for a mobilization bonus for a blog, which is the last component of mobilization, the chapter, we're holding blogs to a little bit higher of a standard. So the chapter has to submit a quality blog, something more than I went out on campus and did this event. It was really fun, which we've literally gotten blogs that say that before. So around like 80 to 100 words would be great. Just a paragraph or two about the events that transpired, or, you know, the preparation, all that good stuff. And then also pictures are required to be bonus eligible. So it's something to stress to your chapter leaders is every time that you're tabling, get, even if it's just a selfie of the 2 chapter leaders with the table, or just a picture of the table, or, you know, anything could count. But we're really trying to get some quality pictures. And so on the current website, it is really hard, as I'm sure a lot of you know, to submit pictures with your blog. We literally should be getting our new website tomorrow, hopefully. So that will change very, very soon. But in the meantime, if, you know, a blog comes in the next 24 hours, just send me the pictures and I can attach them on the back end too. So yeah, let me see. So yeah, 80 to 100 words in a picture submitted after an activism event has been applied for, executed, and all that good stuff. And it has to be active before it can become mobilized.
Would you like us to go ahead and just do the submission and the blog and the pictures like through us, or do we need to send that to you, or what?
Yeah, so I can send out a lovely video, or I think I can probably screen share. Yes. So let me know, 1 second. I'm gonna actually go to the website and show you. So if you go to yaliberty.org, cool, and then you go to your you go to tools over here. You can click write a blog post. So you have to be signed into a Gal account. And let me stop this. You have to be signed into a Gal account and all of that. But then you just submit a blog from there. And it should probably be more streamlined on the new website, which will be awesome. It'll be more similar to like creating a Facebook post on the new website, I'm told. So that'd be a lot easier. But yeah, the actual chapter president has to submit the blog. You can't submit the blog for them unless there's like some weird extenuating circumstance, which there has been before, where people like can't access their accounts or something. But 99% of the time, we really need the blog from them. Cool. Any other questions about blogs, mobilizations, anything like that? Alrighty. So, okay. So the next thing I want to go through is I did create a tab on the doc for bonuses. So when you are bonus eligible, a lot of times things have been a little bit clunky with like y'all Facebook messaging it to me and us being in like weird communication about it and everything like that. So I did create a way to streamline it, which I'm going to share my screen again real quick so that you can see it. Okay, so if you go to our Warriors doc, okay, and then you go over, sorry, this is moving super slow. So this bonuses tab on the bottom here, click on it, and whenever you're eligible for a bonus, you literally come in here and fill out a row for yourself. So in notes, it'll ask you the year that or the school that you're receiving the bonus for. Is it a new school, meaning that you created it, or was it existing before, meaning that you didn't create it? And also, is it a 4-year school or a 2-year school? So you select whatever applies to that school. Obviously, our region is Central Region. You put in the state that you're in, pretty self-explanatory. And then for bonus, we're no longer giving activation bonuses, so mobilization. and then you put in your first name, your last name, your YAL email that's associated with your banking account. So for everyone except for Jason, it's your YAL email. And then you put in the blog link. So you have to go on the website, make sure it's published. Sometimes that does take up to like 24 hours, but it shouldn't be more than that. The school name, exactly how it appears in the chapters doc. So for example, if it's Colorado State University, don't put CSU, literally go in, copy paste it into this here. And then once you do that, then you can ping me, say, hey, Brittany, I'm eligible for a bonus. And then I'll go in here. And once I have entered it to be approved, I will switch this to entered and we'll be all good to go there. So it just streamlines it a little bit. It makes it easier for me so I don't have to be collecting a bunch of little pieces of information from y'all and everything. And I think it'll be just a more efficient way for us all to communicate about bonuses. Does anyone have questions about that tab? I think it's pretty straightforward.
I have some questions about bonuses. So you mentioned that the mobilization bonuses reset like in the summer. Mm-hmm. So like my chapter, like we're just mobilized. We just did an event today. I would get like a bonus for an old chapter.
Yeah. So you, by your chapter, do you mean Lafayette or do you mean like one of your chapters?
Or Lafayette, yeah.
So
like, I did start it, but it's been existing.
Yeah. So exactly. Good question. I know what you're asking. So first of all, you aren't eligible for bonuses for your own school if that hasn't been communicated.
Oh, no.
It's kind of expectation, but so if you weren't at that school, yeah. So if you weren't at Lafayette and you created it, but you didn't create it this semester, it would still be considered new because you created it.
Okay.
So yes, all new and existing means is existing would just be it was existing before you became a state chair. New would be it's assigned to you and you created it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I can go in the doc and everything and make like a note. So if you hover over it, it'll just remind you of exactly what those means. Because yeah, the language is a little bit confusing there. But if you created it, you're eligible for the full bonus and everything.
Sweet.
Cool. Any other questions about bonuses, about the tab, anything like that? Okay, cool.
If you didn't create the chapter, are you still eligible for the bonus?
Yes, if you didn't create the chapter, but the chapter is assigned to you in the doc, you are eligible for a bonus. And I don't have the sheet in front of me right now. It's just like a little bit less than if you created the chapter yourself, but you still do get a bonus. Same as before. If you mobilized a chapter that was existing before you were a state chair, you'd still get a bonus for it, but it was like 100 rather than 250. And now it's like double that, and give or take a little if you created it versus didn't create it. And I can, if you guys don't have that spreadsheet handy with the price breakdown or like the bonus breakdown, I would be more than happy to forward that to y'all again, so you have it. But okay, cool. So I think that'll be a better way to handle bonuses going forward and everything. So cool. The next thing I want to talk about is activism events / membership drives. So first of all, I'm going to screen share again. Is this helpful? Can you see the screen on your computer and everything, or is it like super small? You're good? Okay, cool. I'm going to screen share again because I want to show you something on YAL Nationals doc, which makes me happy every day I come to work, which is our percentage of chapters that have applied for membership drive or an activism event in general. Central Region is absolutely killing it in this department. Ty and Matt are like extremely happy with where we're at, and it's because we've put in so much hard work in making sure that all of our chapters have applied for an activism event. And so we're at a point where like I think there's like 12 chapters that aren't D chapters that need to apply for an event, which is just insane. So if you come down here and look over in this row, We have 96 chapters that have applied, but 82.76% of our entire network has applied for an activism event at this time, which is absolutely unprecedented and completely awesome. And my goal is to get to 90% by the end of the month. So it's a matter of like a few chapters, to be honest. And there's 2 new chapters in there. So those are really easy to get membership drive apps for. And I think this is really just a testament to how strong our network is. Like if we have a chapter in the doc, it's an actual chapter that exists, that has people that want to do activism. And that's really cool. So I'm really excited about that. Something else that I wanted to touch on with membership drive is, again, there was a little bit of just like clunkiness with the communication around chapters that have executed events or exactly where chapters are with events, stuff like that. So we are experimenting, by we I mean Central Region, with a new tab that was created for activism events. So I'm just going to hop over there for a second and kind of explain it a little bit. And this tab will allow us to, I know some of you that were on last semester, I would send out an email with just like a huge list of chapters, cut, copy, pasted, and ask you like, all right, where are these chapters with their activism event? And it was just really inefficient. So now we have the events tab, which this may fall flat on its face, I don't know, but we're at least going to try it. So if you go in here, and then this really isn't going to be helpful on this view, but I've created filters for each state over here. So never click on this like big filter, but the drop down over here has everyone's states. So if you were to go to Arkansas, for example, this will give you an entire list of chapters that have applied for activism events. And this is what I look at whenever I check whenever y'all ask questions about activism events. This is a cutout of the doc that I'm looking at. And so the information that you'll see here, obviously the date that they applied for the activism event, their status as far as if it's been approved to be sent out, the kit is what I'm talking about. The event status, which means that, and this is what we're going to be most concerned about, is just making sure that all these events that said that they were going to happen on specific dates, making sure that they actually do happen at some point. And so this is, and again, none of this can be edited. This is just what you're seeing on my doc. So all of this is protected, and it's just a formula inputting it. But so all of these events are still pending, as you can see, which means that they haven't happened yet. Eventually, they'll be changed to confirmed and then reported, which is when you submit a blog. The name of the activism event, the recruitment date that they put on their actual application to recruit for the event. So that's really helpful for you to know. The meeting date, region self-explanatory, first and last name of the person that applied, their contact information, and all that. So whenever you ask me, and again, if I have to change it on my end, it'll update in this row for you immediately. So you never have to go in and ask, you know, what day did Connor Lindsay say that he was going to do his recruitment drive, because you can go in here and see that it's the 9th of September. And this is exactly what I'm looking at. So this will be really helpful just for your own reference. And then BW note is just whatever I have in my notes, so that you can know, like, if I called someone and confirmed the event already, which hopefully y'all will be doing that, then you'll know about it. This is just what I'm looking at in the notes that I'm keeping on my communication. What I need from you is just whenever you're in communication with someone about an event, you're going to come over here to note date and input the date they talked to said person about the event. Obviously, note author, note, and then status, which I am creating a drop down for. I don't know why it's not on Arkansas, but it should be like rescheduled or confirmed or reported, something like that. And if something changes with the event, you can go over here to note and just put Connor actually needed to reschedule to Thursday, but still planning on having the event, blah, blah, blah. And then what I'm going to do is before I reach out to any chapter presidents about events or anything like that, I'm going to go over to your notes and see, okay, Jason was in communication and everything. He's got it covered. I don't need to reach out, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this will be really helpful to keep us all on the same page and everything like that. Sometimes it is a little bit slow with loading just because this is all formulas, keeping this inputted over here. But all in all, I think it'll be a pretty good system. And obviously we will be talking about this as well. Oh boy. But this will be good just as like a standard procedure type of a thing. And it is your expectation whenever a chapter is having an event to be communication with them the day before, just to say, hey, you guys pumped up, you got the kit, blah, blah, blah. The day of, just to make sure everything went well, have them send you the pictures and the signups, all of that. And then after, just to make sure that they are getting the blog post in and see what their future plans are for their next event. So what are your thoughts about that? Do you think it'll be helpful? Is it confusing in any way? Like anything, any thoughts? Cool. Awesome. So we'll see how.
I couldn't unmute myself fast enough. This is amazing. This cuts out the middleman of me having to message you all the time and see what the date is. So
yeah. No, and I think it really will be helpful. And I showed Matt it, and he was like, "Oh, I think it's a little bit confusing." And I was like, "I think it'll be helpful." So we'll see. I think it is like a pretty good system as of right now, and there probably will be some kinks that get worked out with it. But if you can confirm all of your events, I won't reach out to your chapters about events, and that'll be helpful because it's one less person contacting them. I know over contacting is a problem with some chapters, so all of that is well and good as long as we are actually using it. So that's just on your probably like weekly expectations on Monday. Whenever you submit your points, I'll go through and just see what the status of your events are and everything like that. And feedback is helpful. So if it isn't a helpful system, if it's like really not working or anything, just let me know and we can revise and everything like that. So we're doing amazing with membership drive, like I said. And so I'm just really, really, really happy with where we're at with that. Compared to other regions, we're like doubling where they're at with recruitment drive. So it's pretty cool. Okay. So just 3 more things and then we're done. Office hours, just so that everyone's familiar of exactly what they are and what they're not. Office hours are a set amount of time that you can dedicate 100% every week, 5 hours to EL responsibilities. And it's Monday through Friday. I don't care if it's like you have nothing going on Friday and you just want to put all of your 5 hours from like 1 to 5 p.m. just working on YAL stuff, reaching out to presidents, stuff like that. I don't care if you have it during your lunch break, 1 hour every day. Like, it doesn't really matter to me, but this is a set amount of time where I know I can reach out to you and you'll be available to talk about YAL because you'll be working on YAL stuff. And again, I know that like schedules change and stuff. That's completely fine as long as we're in communication about it and you have to push your hours to a different day. Totally cool. But I do want to be more on top of this than we were last semester and just making sure that we are putting in the time there. And it's not like I'm worried that you guys aren't doing it. And so that's why we're establishing this. It's just our most successful activists do this anyway and say, this is the time that I'm working on YAL. I've set it aside, good to go and everything like that. And so if you haven't submitted your office hours, oh my Lord. During my office hours in DC, I'm going to throw paper wads at you. So you know, yeah. Okay. Thanks, Brian. So yeah, if you haven't submitted your office hours, please get them to me. And if you're not sure, if you want to revise or edit, I'll send them out again so that you have those handy. And everything like that. So, okay, 2 more things. Facebook Live trainings. This is an idea I had randomly, and some other regions have done them like sporadically, but I think it'd be really cool to do Facebook Lives on the Central Region Facebook page, either every Thursday or every other Thursday, just because Thursday is the one day that I don't have obligations after work. to go in and cover topics that would be useful for chapter presidents to know. And I want y'all to be involved on this as much as you want to be. So if you want to host one or if you want to be featured on one, that's totally cool. And I'd be open to that. But some ideas that I had for them, I could talk about blogs, basically just a how-to walkthrough of exactly, how to submit a blog. Tabling 101, tabling procedures and like tips and tricks and stuff like that. Follow up with signups and stuff. Leadership transitions, which will probably be more relevant towards the end of the semester. How to conduct meetings, stuff like that. But I was wondering if in your communication with chapter presidents or just in your experience, what else do you think would be helpful to cover on these live trainings, or do you have any additional ideas of like how to make these successful?
I definitely think our communication on that is going to be a key factor to it, because like say we have one going in to start on a Thursday. Okay, then reach out to anyone a day or two before, say, hey, this is my plan, whoever's executing or whatever, and then you guys can jot notes between each other. Make sure you can, if you want to contribute on it, you're setting up the correct time to be there, and then also just adding any additional help or assistance that needed. But I think the communication and the outreach on that is going to be a significant factor.
Definitely. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, my vision for it was just like a lot of times when I'm talking to chapter leaders, like I'm getting the same types of questions. Like, what do you suggest that I do on my first chapter meeting? And it might be cool just to have like a video to reference, like, oh yeah, tune in this Thursday, we're going to be talking about this. Or if it already happened, then we've got a video log that we can send them. Just going over stuff. And honestly, you guys are the expert on all of this because you're on campus actually dealing with this. They're your chapter president, so I'm sure that they'd like to see you featured on some of this stuff and everything. So I would love your input on that. If you have any ideas, let me know. But I don't know, just thought it could be something cool potentially. Okay, and the last thing is just a free speech reform reminder, which was literally Alex saying, make sure that by September 15, all state chairs must have reform applications submitted and to have taken action on your reform application. So this is not my area of expertise, but that is a message. So that's coming up, so just make sure that you're on top of that and everything, which I'm pretty sure most of you are. Also, Alex sent out an email today, so just make sure to follow up about that, which most of you have. So, okay. Other than that, that's basically everything that I had for you. Is there anything else that I didn't cover that you guys want to discuss, or literally anything on your mind that you want to bring up?
I wanted to say something about recruitment director earlier, but it's Marcus Maldonado, Caleb Moore, and Caleb Malone. They're all three amazing, and they could all easily be state chairs. And yeah, so like we had a recruitment drive today at UL, my school, and Marcus just showed up and did it. And then next week, me, Marcus, and Caleb are going to LSU to do a recruitment thing. And then Caleb Malone's killing it at McNeese. And another responsibility I gave him was I came up with an idea. I don't know if this is going to work, but I came up with an idea to have like a Louisiana YOW page. So it's for all the chapters, and we share like all of our successes on it. And I told him get 200 likes on it within a month, and he did it. And it's actually going pretty well. So as of right now, we've already had a couple people message the page from like different schools and different areas asking like, how do I get involved with YOW? And so then Caleb plugs them in with like the chapter that they go to school at. So it's going really well with my REDs.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's exactly, and I can testify to that. Jacob, I'm forgetting his last name, but the new Shreveport chapter. Yeah, I got on the phone with him, and he was like, yeah, I just feel so supported of Louisiana. Like, everyone's so cool, and like, I'm going to do an activism event, and there's going to be people potentially coming to help me, like other chapter presidents and stuff. And I was just like, yeah, like, that's amazing, and that's what we're really striving towards when I talk about state culture. Louisiana as just like been amazing at this. Arkansas has like chapter leaders like visiting campuses with Jason, which is awesome. Everyone knows everyone. Utah has historically been really great at this. But if you can, oh, and then Texas, obviously. But like, if you can get a good state culture going, if you can get people connected with other people, then it's always to your benefit. And it also, you know, keeps people motivated without you having to have phone calls with them all the time, right? Because they're communicating with other people that are doing the same thing that they're doing, which is awesome. So that's amazing to hear. I'm really happy about that. Cool. Any other like exceptional chapter leaders or like fun activism stories or anything like that? No? Jess, your event went really well. Do you want to talk about that at all?
We actually had 2 chapter presidents come and join us doing it.
Nice.
We had one from a community college, and then we had one from like all the way in like Las Cruces. But we were just messing around because that was the first time they had met, and they were like, yeah, dude, and they were bonding. And then so the Daily Lobo like came up to us and was like, your guys' group looks like it's so much fun. And we were just talking about like stupid stuff we did over the summer, and they were just like, what's your chapter about? And then we told them it's about like liberty and stuff, and they're like, oh, it's politics? You could have never even known it's politics. And I was like, well, it's not like really like all just politics. Like, we have fun and stuff. And then they all started talking about all the events they did, and then they started like saying like, oh, well, how many people do you guys plan to recruit? And with all them like saying different things, we recruited 45 people to attend our meeting next Tuesday, which we're gonna have. And like they just like did it, like it was the first time that they had gotten together and recruited together, and like each one of them had something different to say about their chapter, and they're all kind of small, but it was really fun because they were like all planning on we're actually gonna have the meeting, and then right across the street there's like a little pizza place, and they're like planning on like meeting there without me. Like, they don't even need me anymore. They're just like, okay, well, if you can't come, that's okay. But they're like, we're gonna go hang out after the meeting. And we actually did get on the Daily Lobo, and she asked for all of our phone numbers because she wants to like feature every time we have an event. She wants to write about it. So we have like our specific section on the Daily Lobo. So that's really cool.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. And Justice Chapter is like historically, yeah, Brian's saying gaining media. That's exactly what I was going to say. Justice Chapter has like mastered this somehow. I don't know if you just constantly have like cameras walking around, but yeah, your chapter is consistently getting media. I know Lafayette has been pretty good at that too. Like, anytime they can broadcast what you're doing to other people, it's just like fantastic. And I absolutely love, I feel like the turning point in like my chapter back in the day was when we learned to have fun with our activism, and we stopped taking everything like so seriously, and we talked about other things that didn't have to do with liberty, and we would just get together for like lunch and stuff. And like that stuff really does make a difference, building rapport with people and like forming genuine relationships, and everything really does make a huge difference. So, oh, yay. That's awesome.
And it was just exciting because they're all so shy. Like, they don't talk. When I first met them, they were just like, I'm actually like not very good at recruiting. And so they were so surprised when they recruited 45 people themselves at this last event, because they were like, usually I only recruit like 4 or 5 people, because they're small schools, so they don't have like an assigned table that they can go do stuff at. So my school's actually, mine and NMSU are the only schools that we actually are like recognized, and we're a big deal. So when we went to my school, they were just like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Like, we want to come do every event at your school, just because it's like so much more fun than recruiting 5 people. You waste like 4 hours on 4 or 5 people. And then here it's like, we were there for like 2.5 hours and we recruited 45 people. So it kind of gave them like more ideas. And then a chapter president after that texted me like 2 days later, and he's like, I finally figured out how to get a table at my campus after recruiting with us. So like, he went out of his way to like finally do it, because he saw how exciting it was to like do it.
Wow.
So it was fun.
That's amazing. Yeah, like even in my chapter, I don't know if any of you know Ben Waldman at all, but he was one of our interns at Yale National this past semester, and he's the vice president now of our chapter. But when we first found him, he was like scared to death to recruit. He was like, I'm just not an outgoing person. And you give him like bite-sized pieces, and they actually like learn, okay, this is fun. This isn't like scary like I thought it was going to be. And now he's like a regional director for SFL, and like taking on huge responsibility with the Southeast and everything. And those success stories are like so common. And that's like the best part of your job, right? Is like empowering other people to do your job essentially, and to like, you know, build chapters that they can actually like hang their hat on. It's really cool. So awesome. Any other fun stories coming from any other states?
Yeah, so I mobilized University of Central Arkansas today, and I'll be submitting like that info later. But I mean, it's a relatively smaller school, and as far as like the new material kits and everything goes, I'll just make the quick point saying presentation and how we like present an image has a massive effect on like results, because like today, before that chapter has like always been like, I don't want to say insignificant, but struggling by the wayside. And like after today, they said they got like over 70 signups. Jeez. And I'm just like, okay, I'm waiting for you to send me this info. Like I'm stoked. So, I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. And I mean, I'm excited to get the pictures in to see how they presented themselves. But they said literally just the way they set up and presented it all was what attracted the bases, and I was pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. And I remember Caleb Malone specifically posted a picture or sent me a picture of his recruitment table, and it was like the best recruitment table I've ever seen. So
was that the one you posted?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was incredible. Like
everything was like perfectly in place. I'm super OCD and type A.
Yeah.
I couldn't create a table that looked that beautiful. So yeah, he's probably gonna get featured in Yale National Email now. Over that table. But yeah, table is super important, and obviously make sure that people are standing in front of the table and all of that good stuff so that you look approachable. Yale activists pretty much have this mastered. But yeah, one event can turn around an entire chapter. Like I remember our recruitment drive, we got like 70 people to turn up in the room, and we got like 10 new members from that. One of them was our president for a little bit. So like, yeah, one activism event sometimes is all unmotivated chapter presidents need to like turn things around. So that's really cool. Christian, Mike, anything you want to share from Texas that's going on or anything like that?
Sure, I got you. So kind of like UCA, like Brian was saying, we got University of Houston downtown activated yesterday, and they went in and got like a ton of signups. Then right after the event, they went in and called each signup, put them on their mailing list, sent them an email, made sure like, hey, we're going to have this event coming up. So exactly, you know, protocol of what chapter presidents are supposed to do. And I didn't even have to tell them about it. Like I was really surprised myself. Like after going to YaleCon, like it just start up this fire inside of them. So I'm really proud of them right now. That was actually like my first chapter I started up. So like it means a lot to me to see that happening.
Oh, yeah, I remember him commenting, and like I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so proud of you. Yeah.
And then shout out to Brian Hell, because we're gonna have a free speech event tomorrow, and like Brian's gonna be there, Christian's gonna be there, Haley, Roddy from LI is gonna be there. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
The best event. Believe me.
Oh my Lord.
Also, I'm going to be heading down to McAllen on Monday, I do believe, down by the border. UTRGV, University of Texas Rio Grande, is going to have their first ever event as a chapter on next Monday, so that should be pretty fun. I'll sneak in across the border and buy some tacos too, so that's another plus.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, that'll be perfect. Yeah, especially if you can be there when people have their first event as a chapter president. I mean, that's money right there. That's awesome. So shout out to you, Christian. That's really cool. Okay, cool. Maria, have your chapter started up yet? Have your schools like started classes and everything, or like where is Kansas at right now? Oh, you're muted. Is it not going to work? Why does this always happen, Maria? It's okay. Cool. That's totally fine. You should blow up the Facebook message with Kansas updates after this hangout. We love Kansas. Okay, cool. Yeah, your microphone. Bummer. Okay, cool. That's all right. So
well, I can answer the question of where Kansas is. It's right between Nebraska and Oklahoma.
Oh. Okay, cool. Good to know. Thank you, Christian Umling, for your input. And schools haven't really started up in Kansas yet. Okay, cool. Matt Strauss is apparently going to Midwest YLS and helping Barrett with campus invasions, which I just found out as I was leaving work today. So I was like, that's cool. But yeah, I touched base with him. He's doing big things. But awesome, guys. We're honestly, and I don't want to keep you longer than 10, or 10 my time. So I will wrap things up there. Yes, Matt is awesome. And everything. But I really do just want to acknowledge every single one of you for the work that you're putting in every day. I know sometimes like it may seem like all of the communication we have is just like updates and asks and stuff, but I never want to lose sight of the fact that each one of the numbers that we track does represent like a human life that is being impacted by the message that we are representing. And so like never lose sight of that in your activism. And anytime that you have a really cool story, like I love hearing that stuff. So please, please, please share it with the group, share it with me. We can all keep each other inspired and everything like that. But Central Region is in a place that it's never, ever, ever been before. In a place where we're set up to be the top region in the entire country. And I think that the ground is just so fertile for that to happen. And so the strides that we're making right now are amazing. We just need to make sure that we're staying on top of our basics, you know, expectations and stuff like that. And then just staying in communication with each other and really keeping in mind what we're doing and the impact that it's having on our entire region, which is awesome. I did want to leave you with one really cool announcement, and then I'll let everyone go. And I need to stress to y'all so much not to let this leak to anyone else, because this is information that was iffy if we should even share it with state chairs at this point. But we have decided on a summit location for this year, and Mike's smiling because he knows that it's in Houston, Texas. Woo, which is awesome. So Arkansas is close by, Louisiana is close by. You know, most of our network is surrounding Texas. Chris Harrelson and Rutland are going to have some planning to do as far as how to get Utah all the way to Texas. But I think it's honestly where our network is right now. And it's going to be convention center, or hasn't been confirmed yet. So I'm actually taking a trip to Houston to do like a mini tour type deal, and I'm going to look at some venues while I'm there. But open to suggestions if you have some, which Brian, I'm sure you do, and Mike and Christian. So yes, tour party, LOL. Yeah, actually, Brian, I need to talk to you about that actually, because there's potential for you to go to Houston as well for this like event. Oh, and then sorry. So we're also having mobilization boot camps now. Which are paid for by Generation Opportunity. And our first one is in Houston, Texas. So it's a good kind of testing the waters for Summit. Recruitment is going really well, and 90% of the people that go there have to be in state, but there is a small amount allotted for people out of state. Again, travel's covered, lodging is covered, food is covered, and it's not in reimbursement. Like, we proactively get your plane ticket. So if anyone is interested in attending, basically what it is really intensive dive into building a campaign around an issue. So that can be a free speech campaign. It can be Christian's run for, I forget exactly what you're running for. It can be a campaign. It can be an initiative. It can be
state representative, by the way.
Woo! A state representative. Okay. It can be literally whatever you want, but really just intensively looking at how we plan to succeed in the movement. Led by Generation Opportunity. It'll be awesome. Mike, do you remember the dates offhand?
It is the 29th through the 1st.
Cool. So,
yeah, so you said that, like, you said about the project that everybody's been working on. Is that what you told about, or
a little bit?
So with that, you actually I don't know if you remember. Justin said you can't do the campaign because they're gonna have you like actually do a project like afterwards and during the whole thing to like the skills you utilize, like while you learn, you can use them. But they said like afterwards, it actually can't be a campaign because of like the whole C4 and everything with YL. But you can use the skills you learn here for a campaign later on, which is really awesome.
Yeah, cool. So good distinction. I guess you can't run for, well, you can run for office on your own time, but you can't do that as your like project. But at any rate, it'll help people plan campaigns in the future. And if that's what you're into, that's cool. If not, it'll help you plan an initiative around an issue and everything like that. So if it's something that you're interested in and can have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday at that time, let me know and I can connect you with Justin and hopefully get you hooked up with that opportunity. Brian, I know you want to go. So yeah, we'll definitely talk. Oh, sorry. You're doing something. Okay. Never mind.
Separate issue, but yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Sorry, it's 10:04. I said I'd let you go by 10. But awesome. Yeah. Thank you again, everything that you're doing. Please remember, don't share that information that I just told you, even with like your chapter presidents. Like, please keep that between all of us. That should be announced fairly soon, but we're still deciding on some like logistics and stuff. So cool. I love you all dearly and miss you a lot. And thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday. Hope all of your classes are going well. Brush your teeth, eat vegetables, stay safe, all of that good stuff. You're welcome. Yeah. Don't do drugs. Yeah, don't do drugs. Okay, cool. Alrighty, well, I'll let you all go. But if anyone wants to chat about anything additional, feel free to stay on the Hangout and everything. But if not, have a good rest of your night, and I love you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Christian. Bye, guys. Bye, Jess.
Have a good one.
Bye. All right. What's up, Brian Hale? You're muted.
Yeah, my bad. What's up?
Actually, let me stop broadcasting real quick so